Hey everyone, so glad you're here to join me this afternoon. We're going live today to talk about how celebrating your wins without perfectionism is the key to health, lasting health and weight loss, sustained healthy habits. And I can't wait to share all of this with you guys today. First, I want to start with a little bit of a check-in with you all. I want you to drop an emoji in the comments that represents how you feel about your health today. And there's absolutely no judgment here. If I had an emoji to drop about how I feel about my health today, I'd probably have that emoji with like the wide grin that has like the, I don't know what it's called. It's not anxious emoji, but it's sort of like gritting its teeth, like, that's sort of how I feel about my health today. I feel a little off, but I'm also trying my best to follow through with my intentions of not having sugar this week, which is going really well. Earlier today, I had, where's my little snack bowl? Usually I have cashews with some chocolate chips, and today I had cashews with some raisins. And I have to tell you, I actually preferred the cashews and raisins over the dark chocolate. And I'm starting to feel a little bit better emotionally. My mood is lifting, but I'm not feeling so good digestively. And that's telling me that something that I'm eating is actually messing with my digestive system. And it's not the sugar that I've been eating because it's been 2 days without it. So what it's telling me is that something I've eaten, probably my oatmeal this morning, had a little bit too much maple syrup, or maybe it wasn't the right choice for me today and I need higher protein to balance my blood sugar. That's the kind of detective work I love to do for myself. And I also love to do with my clients. So I would love to know who's here watching. I see a couple people tuning in. You can drop your name in the comments. You can just say hello so I know that you're here. And before we begin, I want to remind you guys of the release of my new book, Energetic Eating, Live Boldly Beyond Dieting. And in just a few weeks, this book is going to come out, and it's a compilation of everything that I've worked on, that I've researched, that I've helped women with over the last 5 years. And it's all about releasing the diet narrative, getting out of yo-yo dieting so that you can have sustainable results that last you a lifetime. I've got personal stories, activities, research, client stories, a workbook that all goes in that so that you can get the results that you want that will last you a lifetime. And I cannot wait to get this into your hands. Make sure you guys get on the wait list so that you know exactly when it's going to come out. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to that in the comments so that you can, oh, that's a YouTube link. That is not the link that I was looking for. See, we'll get rid of that one. I'll get the link to you guys after this Facebook Live, and I'll make sure that it's in the comments so that you can join the wait list and get on the book wait list. Come to the launch party. We'll have some fun, and I have a few giveaways to give you when the book comes out. And yeah, so go ahead and sign up for that. Now, I want to ask you guys, how many of you have ever had a moment where you accomplished something for your health, but instead of feeling elated, instead of feeling energized, instead of feeling amazing, you thought to yourself, well, I could have done better. I've been there. It's that feeling of not enoughness. It's that feeling that unless it's perfect, our efforts don't even matter. And that's what I want to help you break today in today's live training. Today, we're going to cover how self-compassion leads to real results, not just feel good fluff. I know when we think about self-compassion, we're like, oh, rainbows and butterflies. It's more than that. It is tuning into your body and understanding how your body works so you can get results. I always tell my clients there's two ways that you can get results. One is by beating yourself over the head, and the other is by having self-compassion. You get results with both. It's your job to choose which path you want to go on. We get to discover why perfectionism keeps us stuck and how to break free. And then finally, I'll teach you simple tools to celebrate wins without the self-sabotage that comes along with perfectionism. This training is about progress, not perfection. We're going to have some fun with it. And if you've been holding yourself to impossible standards, then today's training is definitely for you. The perfectionism trap sounds like this. And if any of these resonate with you, you can let me know in the comments. You can say me. If this is something that rings true for you, you might say, if I can't do it 100%, then why should I bother? I did well, but I didn't do good enough. Or most common thing, I'll start fresh Monday. Why do we say that? Because we believe that we have failed ourselves in some way and that we haven't done enough. And so on Monday, we're going to do even better. Those things create a place in the body where self-sabotage wreaks havoc, and self-loathing creates a environment in which you continue to make the choices that don't serve you. And we want to break that perfectionism and that voice that comes in that tells us that we aren't good enough and that we'll start fresh on Monday. And that if we didn't do 100%, why bother? So that you can continue on a path of sustained habits that will help you get results. Now, the all or nothing thinking is sneaky because it makes us feel like we're holding each other accountable. However, it's really setting us up for burnout. I want you to imagine that you're constantly speaking to yourself this way, or even speaking to yourself like this every other day. It doesn't matter. When you hear those words, if you heard them spoken to a friend, how would that feel? How would you respond? Would you stand up for them, right? If you had a friend who was constantly saying these things around you, how does that feel, right? When they say those things, you want to stand up for them. You want to tell them it's going to be okay. But quite honestly, when you have somebody around who's constantly in that negative cycle and feeling that way, it can get a little exhausting for the people around you as well. So that feeling of exhaustion, that feeling of, okay, I don't really want to hear this anymore, that feeling of wanting to stand up is creating this feeling of burnout in the body. It's just too much. So we want to fill it up with things that are more compassionate and that help us stay on the track for the long haul. Studies show that when we treat ourselves with kindness, we are more likely to stay consistent. And the problem that a lot of people have is that they think they need to step on the scale and beat themselves up for what they've done or the damage they've done or the thing that they ate or the exercise they didn't do in order to kick their butts into action. But it's simply not true. Self-criticism activates stress, and that can lead to self-sabotage. You feel really stressed out about what's happening. You see how much weight you've gained, and then you're like, screw it, I'm not going to do anything. Self-compassion reduces emotional eating, and it reduces burnout, just as I said earlier. Ditching perfectionism helps us build resilience so we keep going even when things aren't perfect. And that's the key. You keep going even though they're not perfect. So you can recognize that it wasn't perfect. Hey, I didn't do 100%. And you can say, well, if I did 60%, that's amazing. Good for me. I did 60%. You can look at it in both ways. And I want you to look at it in the way of where what you've done is progress, not perfection, and you honor that for yourself. I want to tell you a story that I tell inside my new book, The Energetic Eating Method. I remember trying a 21-day fixed diet where I had to put foods in tiny little containers and I had to measure them out and portion them. I also had 21 days of exercise that I had to adhere to in order to get the results that I wanted. This was really motivating in the beginning. I'm like, yes, I have like this methodology, I have this structure, I have this thing, and I'm going to do it. And when I'm done, I will have lost the weight that I'm looking to lose, and it's going to kick me in the pants and get me to do something differently. Now, that was kind of true for about a week. But after a week, I started to feel like I couldn't keep up with it. It wasn't sustainable. I started to actually resent those little colored boxes that I was putting my food in because I couldn't just throw together a meal. And I started using those Tupperware for my kids' lunches instead of for myself. So then I felt just like a complete disaster. And I felt like I couldn't keep myself organized and I couldn't keep up with the diet and I felt like a failure. As a result, I overate. I didn't pay attention to the things that I was eating. And after 2 weeks of that, I felt so horrible about myself that I ended up going into a juice fast. I ordered these frozen blocks of this like pulpy juice that I was supposed to thaw in the refrigerator and then drink for 7 days in a row. And I'm like, I'm just gonna rewind. I'm going to rework or just try to, what's the word I'm looking for? Try to go back and I can't think of the word. Erase, erase the progress that I didn't make and go back and create the progress I thought I wanted by doing this drastic thing. I wanted to erase all of the damage I thought that I had done over the 2 weeks after the first week where I had success by having this 7-day juice cleanse. And I thought that that was going to help me. The result of my perfectionism, if I couldn't do it right, cause me to be hard on myself and do something even more drastic. If that has been an experience that has affected you, I want you to let me know in the comments. Let me know that I'm not alone, right? You try to follow something, it doesn't work out, then you choose something even more drastic because you feel like you've gone off the deep end and it's even worse than when you started. Think of that time. Think of that time you felt hard on yourself. How did it feel? Did you feel like a failure? Or did it make you feel more motivated and then you felt like a failure? Were you motivated and then you felt like you couldn't continue or sustain it? Did you feel motivated, but it didn't get you the results that you were looking for? Now I want you to think of a time you felt encouraged by a friend, a colleague, a coach, a family member. How does that feel? Encouragement is a part of self-compassion, and you don't have to look for it with external rewards and external results. You can actually build that encouragement within yourself. In fact, when you build that encouragement within yourself, it radiates outward and causes other people to start encouraging you just because you are bringing that energy into yourself and you are emanating it out into the world. So if you want more encouragement, you want more compassion, you want more love, you want more sustainable habits, you creating that energy inside by being more self-compassionate, speaking to yourself kindly, and releasing perfectionism and celebrating those small wins is going to help you for the long run. Now, how do we do this without perfectionism? Celebrating wins might feel like if I didn't go for a run today, then I'm a failure, right? That's celebrating wins with perfectionism. Celebrating wins with perfectionism might be I intended on meal prepping, but I didn't do any meal prepping. That's with perfectionism. You might set an intention like not having any sugar, but you ended up having ice cream with your kids after dinner and then you beat yourself up. That's celebrating wins with perfectionism. I want you to think about it in a different way. So I'll try to revisit those examples. I just came up with them off the top of my head. So let's go with the meal prepping one. You may not have meal planned or meal prepped, but you could order dinner and order something that's good for you. That means that you can celebrate yourself without going into perfectionism. Wow, I didn't have time to, or I didn't have the energy to meal prep, but what I did do was I ordered something that's in alignment with my health goals. Amazing, so celebrate that. Maybe the other example I think we said was, I didn't go for a run today. Okay, so what did you do instead? Did you complete a hard project and you can run tomorrow? Did you go for a walk? Once you realize you didn't go for a run, could you do something for 5 minutes and celebrate yourself? That's celebrating wins without perfectionism. And then the final one, when you decide to have ice cream with your kids and that little voice comes in and says, oh my gosh, I was supposed to not have any sugar and now I'm eating ice cream. Think for yourself, how can I have a limited amount, but still enjoy myself with my kids? Still enjoy myself at the restaurant? Is it possible for me to be proud of myself, even though I'm not doing exactly what I set out to do? That's celebrating your wins. That's self-compassion, not self-defeat, right? That's what we want to do in order to move forward. So right now, for any of you who are listening, I want you to email me back or write in the comments below or share in our Facebook group one thing that you feel like you did for your health today, no matter how small. No matter how small. Today, I did a strength training class, but I lifted really light and I did about half the class. That's okay. I did strength training today. I put in about 30% effort. That's just where I was today. That's okay. It doesn't mean I didn't do it. Just because I didn't go in 100% and sweat a ton doesn't mean that I am a failure. I did do it. And because I'm giving myself the credit for doing it, I'm more likely to do it next time because my body knows strength training is a safe place for me. It's a safe place for me to explore. It's safe for me to do less when I need to. That means it's also safe for me to do more when I need to. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, we can always see them as data. Instead of I fell off track, right, with my strength training, I asked myself what happened and what did I need in that moment? Was I fulfilling my needs? I was. then guess what? I'm celebrating my wins without perfectionism. Instead of I should have done better, I can ask what worked. And what worked for me this morning was getting out of bed, deciding I was going to do strength training, putting in 30% effort and moving on. I decided that was going to work. I took control of my health. I did something, not nothing, right? When you notice self-judgment, I want you to try this. First, pause, take a deep breath, ask yourself, what would I say to a friend? Then say that to yourself. You did a great job. You tried. Way to make a little progress. You did more than you thought you could. What would you say? Now, one of my favorite things to do is a win streak exercise. I've taught this before. It's one of my favorite things to walk my clients through. And it's something that some of the best leaders in the world do. And it's called creating a win streak. I want you to think of 3 wins that you had from the past week. Big or small, it doesn't matter. You can drop them in the comments. You could write them in a journal. 3 of your wins. It's a bit of a reflection exercise, right? And it's a bit of, for those of you who are in self-loathing, self-sabotage, it's a bit of digging deep within yourself in order to be able to find those wins. Once you've got those 3, I want you to pause, take a deep breath, and then I want you to think of 3 more. This is going to stretch your imagination. It's going to stretch you into possibility and also building momentum. And what happens when we build momentum? We actually get results. You're telling yourself, I can come up with 3 and I can stretch myself to 3 more. This mental exercise can translate into anything. It can translate into the way you eat. It can translate into the way you exercise. It can translate into the way that you go to sleep. You think of one small chunk and you think, okay, how can I have a little bit more? And then before you know it, you turn around, you're like, wow, I'm amazing. I've done a lot. I've accomplished a lot. So here are the key takeaways from our live training today. Progress, not perfection, is what creates results. Self-compassion isn't letting yourself off the hook or letting yourself go. It's the key to consistency. Wins fuel motivation, so we're going to celebrate them. And I have a little challenge for you. This is a 7-day challenge. For 7 days, I want you to write down 1 win for your health every single day. I want you to keep it simple. I want you to keep it doable. And I want you to watch what happens every single day for a week. So that'll be 7 wins. And celebrate yourself for that. What can you say to yourself about that win? What can you celebrate about yourself for that win? Those are the most important things. And it will change the trajectory of your health. And it will change the way that you talk to yourself. And it will change the way that you treat yourself. And it will set you on the path to success no matter what. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to sign up for my book waitlist so that you can get the book in your hands and you can do more self-compassion and learn more about the work that I do and the work that we've been doing together in this group, including mindset, nutrition, lifestyle tips, and a full workbook to help you get through all of the trainings that we have been focusing on over the last couple of months together. All right, I'll see you soon.